After a second round exit, the Phoenix Suns pull off a trade for All-star Bradley Beal while only giving up Chris Paul and Landrey Shamet. In a normal sense, acquiring one of the better guards in the league at a great deal should be a celebrated move. But in actuality, this move has been met with a ton of crazy criticisms, so much so that people don't take the Suns as a serious title contender. However, I'm a firm believer that the Bradley Beal deal is a great pickup for the Suns, and that also their new additions over the offseason make them a much better team than last year. Here's just how much Bradley Beal and the newcomers will help the Phoenix Suns next season, and also why you should take the Suns very seriously. But before we begin, be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a tremendous difference for the channel, and be sure to sub to the channel for even more content like this. Bradley Beal is simply an awesome basketball player, and don't let the Wizards' failure trick you out of that. Over the past 5 seasons, he's averaged 27 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds while getting to the line 6 times a game. And this past season, he shot 51% from the field, 37% from 3, and 84% from the free throw line. In Beal, the Suns are getting a great ball handler and good playmaker that can create for himself and others, and is a true 3-level scorer by every sense of that term. Last season, he was the only guard in the entire league to shoot at least 70% within the restricted area, 45% from mid-range, and 35% from 3. And getting him to replace CP3, who provided practically no rim pressure, is amazing for the Phoenix Suns. One of the biggest criticisms of the Bradley Beal trade was that there's only one basketball and that KD, Book, and Beal can't coexist. However, this is a really lazy criticism that makes me wonder how familiar people are with Bradley Beal's game. Through 8 of his first 9 seasons in the league, Beal literally played with ball-dominant guards in either John Wall or Russell Westbrook, and consequently did more of his damage off ball. And in that season where he did play beside Russ, he actually set a career high of 31 points per game on 49% from the field. Even this past season, half of Beal's 3-point attempts were catch and shoot attempts, and he shot 40% on those attempts. Beal is more than capable as an off-ball player, moving well and finding his spots off of off-ball screens, cutting at times, and even running up the floor in transition situations, and then catching and firing from 3. Additionally, KD and Book have demonstrated for years now that they can operate well without the ball, so I have no doubt that Frank Vogel can get these 3 to work, giving defenses problems they didn't have to face in last year's playoffs. In that playoffs, it was evident that the Suns needed help in the worst way, as they quite literally needed both KD and Book to go nuclear to win games. In that Clippers series, Booker averaged 37 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds on 60% from the field and 47% from 3, and KD would average 28 points, 6 assists, and 8 rebounds on 52% from the field, 46% from 3, and 96% from the free throw line. But despite this, the Suns won in a hard-fought 5 games against an LA team that didn't have Paul George for the entirety of the series and didn't have to face Kawhi Leonard after Game 2. Even in the Denver Nuggets series, in which the Suns lost in 6 games, the 2 wins the Suns got in that series were because KD and Book combined for 86 points and 72 points in games 3 and 4, respectively. With Beal, you can cut that over-reliance on both of these 2 stars by having another great scoring option that can punish teams if they double one of those 2, or punish teams if they collapse on either of them when driving to the rim. Moreover, with the depth that the Suns have acquired in free agency, teams are in fact going to have more things to worry about. One of the biggest criticisms of the Suns after the Bradley Beal trade was their lack of depth, but I can honestly say that they did as good of a job as they could have in free agency. This summer, the Suns signed KD's former teammates in Yuta Watanabe from the Brooklyn Nets, a player that shot 44% from 3 this past season, 50% from 3 in the playoffs, and is exactly the off-ball threat the Suns would want to surround KD, Book, and Bradley Beal next season. The Suns got even more shooting with the signing of Eric Gordon, a guard that shot 42% from 3 on 5 attempts a game with the LA Clippers last season. They strengthened their front court with the signing of Drew Eubanks, a player that shot 64% from the field last season and 75% at the rim, and they also signed Chimezie Metu, who provides them with length in the front court. With Okogie and Campaign returning as well, the Suns don't necessarily have amazing depth, but given the salary cap constraints, they really did a good job on finding players to complement their big three. And realistically speaking, the Suns actually have more options depending on what they decide to do with DeAndre Ayton by the NBA trade deadline. Ayton was obviously the #1 pick in the 2018 NBA draft and has definitely been an impactful player ever since, playing an impactful role in the Suns making the NBA Finals in 2021. But while he did average a good 18 and 10 this past season, he did have his worst playoff series to date against the Denver Nuggets, and the Suns have $164 million tied to him, Book, KD, and Bradley Beal alone. Ayton most definitely can be an impactful player for the Suns in a multitude of ways next season as a great finisher, an effective player in the pick and roll, and someone who can crash the glass. But if the Suns are struggling heading into the deadline or the right deal presents itself, I wouldn't be surprised if they capitalized off the 24-year-old's value in order to improve the team's depth and to shed money off the books in the long term by taking on shorter deals. In 2024, the Suns should obviously be taken seriously in the Western Conference based off their new additions and the fact that they have the threats of their three-headed monster. One of these three is obviously Bradley Beal, who we discussed earlier, but the other two are KD and Devin Booker. Kevin Durant is obviously one of the greatest scorers the league has ever seen and averaged 29 points on 56% from the field, 40% from 3, and 56% from mid-range last season, which is actually the highest percentage from mid-range over the past 25 seasons. In the playoffs, he was no slouch either, as he would average 29 points on 48% from the field, chipped in 6 assists and 9 boards, and also got to the line 9 times a game while shooting 92%. And his partner in crime in Devin Booker averaged 28 points on 49% from the field last season and did things in the playoffs that we hadn't seen in 31 years. Booker was the first player since Michael Jordan in 1992 to average at least 35 points per game through the first 8 games of the postseason, and he did that on 60, 49, 88 splits. Overall, it's fair to say that the Phoenix Suns should be one of the better teams in a deep Western Conference. They have the talent, decent support pieces, and a new coach in Frank Vogel who helped lead the Lakers to the 2020 NBA title. And if it all comes together, the Phoenix Suns will win their first title in franchise history. Be sure to comment down below your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns heading into 2024. How much of an impact do you think Bradley Beal will have on the Suns next season? And how well do you feel he'll adapt with KD and Devin Booker? And let me know how you feel about the Suns' depth as well. Please leave a like on the video, as each like makes a tremendous difference for the channel, and be sure to sub to the channel for even more content like this. Hope to see you all in the next one, and stay tuned.